Hey. Hey, the deal's off, you hear me?
Unstable.
The deal is off! Give her back! Give her back!
Fine, are you mad?
No!
Give her back, you son of a bitch!
It's ready! Go!
No! No, no, no!
Shut down the machine!
No!
Shut it
Anna!
down! Shut down
Anna!
the machine! Now do it!
Give me back my daughter!
Oh
No!
my god. I kind of had this feeling that he was going to be the father. Okay.
Anna! No. No. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
I did think of this earlier, that
I'm sorry.
she was going to end up being his daughter.
She's gone, Booker. Anna's gone. You shared
Anna,
this
do it.
room with your regret for almost 20 years. Until one day, a man came to you and offered you a chance at redemption. A chance for us to live together.
Anna. So sorry, Anna.
You suppose he branded himself as some sort of penance? Don't see the point. What's done is done. What's done will be done. I suppose the brand is his hair shirt,
Girl.
as he is ours.
Wipe away the debt. Bring us the girl. Wipe away the debt. Bring us,
See,
bring us the
he's
girl.
starting to put his story together.
Wipe away
You're quite fond of this
the
theory.
girl.
He's manufacturing new memories from his old ones.
Well,
Wipe away.
the brain adapts.
I should know.
Bring us
I've
the girl.
lived it.
Wipe.
Booker, wake up. Booker, wake up. This is where it started.
I sold you. I sold you.
To your credit, you did try to weasel out of the deal.
This is all Comstock's fault. What if I went back? Killed him before he did any of this?
Things get set in motion.
How would one know how far back to go?
That's the only way to do it. Go back to when he was born, and I'll smother the son of a bitch in his crib.
Let's do it. Baby Crusher. Oh my god. Let's go, Elizabeth. Let's go crush a baby.
Booker, are you sure this is what you want?
I have to. It's the only way to undo what I've done to you.
Booker DeWitt, are you ready to be
What is this?
born again?
Why are we back here?
This isn't the same place, Booker.
Of course it is. I remember. Wait. You're not. You're not. Who are you?
You chose to walk away, but in other oceans, you didn't. You took the baptism, and you were born again as a different man.
Comstock.
It all has to end to have never started. Not just in this world, but in all of ours.
Smother him in the crib.
Smother, 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 smother.
Oh,
The
Jesus.
choice is made before you are reborn. He's Zachary Comstock. He's Booker DeWitt.
No. I'm both.
What the fuck? Are you serious?
That's the final twist.
Wow. Holy shit. So he was Zachary Comstock in another world.
Yes.
That's... Man, if you go back and you play the game now... Go back and play the game with that in mind. Holy shit, what the hell? You'd be looking for so much stuff, and there's like so many clues that lead you in that direction.
Well, yeah, the big one that I kind of feel dumb for missing is that when you kill Comstock, your nose starts to bleed.
Yeah.
Because you just
You
killed
just
yourself.
altered reality, yeah.
And you're starting to have, like, you know, your memories are starting to, like, double cross of after dying, just like all the people you kill and their noses start to bleed.
Yeah.
So I don't know how I missed that some way, but yeah. That was the big final twist, which I was kind of like, eh.
Oh, well, she ceases to exist as well.
You're right. She ceases
Yeah,
to
you
exist
see
as
the
well.
last version of her, but she's gone too.
Well, it ends with the cuts to black on the last note, because each note of the piano key is Elizabeth disappearing, and then she's the last one. So all versions of Elizabeth
Oh man,
disappear.
that's a shitty ending. It's not a bad ending by any means, but it's like it's a downer ending.
I mean, I get it's kind of a downer, but the thing I didn't really like about it was that they present this idea of a million different worlds and a million different choices and things that went all these different ways.
Yeah.
But they're insinuating that Comstock, or if Booker goes through with the baptism, he becomes Comstock, no matter what.
Yeah.
All the horrible things that he does and become happens.
Yeah.
Like, it, to me, I think that's kind of like stupid.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, and another ruse has started to point this out, how did Comstock become this weird, radical, ultra-nationalist?
Yeah.
How did, like, where did that come from? Like, there's hints that he was kind of racist in the Battle of Wounded Knee.
Yeah.
But there's nothing really to insinuate in the game, because, like, the Booker you play is kind of a guy who just doesn't care about anything.
Yeah.
And after the baptism, all of a sudden, he becomes this super ultra-nationalist patriot kind of guy, and it's like, where the fuck did that come from?
Well,
Like, it's not explained.
Well, it's not explained. I mean, it kind of doesn't need to be explained. You kind of understand why Booker is haunted throughout his whole life, because he killed all those Native Americans.
It does need to be explained, because it's saying, like, if at this one conjuncture in time he goes through the baptism, then that means definitively he will be Comstock, like, forever.
Yeah.
And by the way, people don't change their names usually at baptisms either. I'm not really sure where that came from.
Well, he went
a plot twist, but
I mean, he just took it a different way. You know, he just takes it to the point where he starts his life anew and feels like he learned something and wants to take that to other people and turns into some crazy asshole.
yeah, but that's the part I don't really like about the ending is that it definitively says that's what he
That's what
will
happens.
do.
Yeah, and it doesn't say the story of how Comstock becomes Comstock.
Like, it never...
Dr.
the
Witt
game
becomes
doesn't have this,
Comstock.
like, moment of, like, maybe, possibly, and entertaining the thought that maybe he becomes Comstock, starts formulating his plans, and then takes a good look, long look at himself in the mirror and goes, what the fuck am I doing? And then just decides not to go through with it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, how come that's not a possibility?
Yeah.
Like, why is it only that he's gonna go on to create Columbia and do all this crazy shit?
Yeah.
And then, why did Rolinda Lutez, why did she go along with this guy? Like, how did, like, I mean, she was the one who came up with the theory of, like, the quantum particles in the floating city.
Yeah.
And, you know, I guess he gave her the money from his religious tithing to give her the funding to do all her research or something, I guess.
Yeah.
But why did she go along with him for so long? You know, then he, you know, and why did the male?
Some things didn't.
Why did Robert Ludus? Why did he go along with the kidnapping plot? Because Comstock, basically, what he did is he used the tears to go to another timeline where he didn't take the baptism.
Yeah.
Where he had a daughter.
Yeah.
And take that daughter from what he considered the sinful loser Booker to win. That's kind of like the whole, you know, gist of what's going on.
Yeah, that he goes between time to take it from himself, pretty much.
Yeah, because if you remember in the laboratory, Lutis said that the machine made him sterile.
Yeah.
And it aged him rapidly as well. That's also something that's hidden in the game. So he became old and sterile in the Columbia timeline. So he went to another timeline to find a daughter that he had sired in some other alternate reality and take her from him.
Yeah.
That's why the Lutises go. Why did Robert and Rosalinda? Why'd they go along with that? Curiosity.
They're scientists.
Is it just kind of like, science, all about coulda, not about shoulda.
Yeah, it's exactly that.
And some people are saying like a big part of the story is their redemption because after Comstock had tried to have them killed along with his lady Comstock.
Yeah.
Maybe they were just trying to like undo what they did.
Yeah.
Which is why they're helping Booker go through all this because Booker gets brought into Comstock's.
Yeah, he gets
reality.
brought into the other reality.
He doesn't know that.
Yeah, and he gets super jacked up because of the travel or something like that, and he makes up his own memory. Because that's what he told me. Because that's what he said because he went through that. And he's like, yeah, the mind just makes up memories.
Yeah.
So
the only part I really kind of don't really like about the ending is just that for a game called Bioshock Infinite, it doesn't entertain the possibility of infinite possibilities. It actually comes to this conjuncture in time and says, if this person does this thing, he
goes
always
crazy
be bad.
in a huge variety of crazy ways.
And if he doesn't do this thing, he will always. He may not be good, but he won't become evil, like just twisted evil psychopath.
Hey, man.
I'm kind of like, well, that kind of to me it feels almost contradictory.
It's just like Back to the Future. There's something about that date, November 5th, 1955, where everything just revolves around it.
Or it could just be a coincidence.
Yeah, or just a coincidence. I don't know. I'm not too bugged by that. I think it really is interesting now to think back and make sense of like why he was so haunted, and he could never figure out or explain why he was haunted. It's because he killed all those Native Americans, and he dealt. That's essentially
guess.
Well, no, that's the reason. That's the reason for him going through with the baptism is because he wanted to.
Well, yeah, he had all this fucking shit on.
He had all this guilt for like killing all these innocent people.
But then he just becomes like this ultra racist who like basically goes out,
Well, that's
breeds this whole thing of like evil Native Americans.
That's the thing is that he
and
builds himself a new story because he feels like he can be better about it. So you find reason.
It's just like okay, I feel bad for killing.
Dude, there are people like that.
I'm gonna make everyone racist to them.
I don't.
How's that washing away your guilt?
I've seen people like that, so it doesn't really like people that just like think they could wipe the slate clean of all the evil shit they've done.
Yeah, but you're saying you're wiping the slate clean by just getting people to hate them as much as you did before you wiped your own slate clean.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen people do that.
Like the whole thing is like Comstock. I feel there's a lot of context of him and Robert and Rosalinda that isn't in the game that I haven't seen. Where there's a lot of why missing in them, and I don't really feel like I understood why Comstock became the way he was.
Well, yeah, it's not explained.
I don't feel
the
like
evolution of post DeWitt baptism to becoming Comstock.
Yeah, it just feels like there's this big giant gap. Like I understand he became this different person, but like that's what story is knowing what caused one person to go that way.
Well, and to be honest, the story isn't really about how Comstock becomes Comstock. It just happens that way. The story is really about this man's redemption.
I guess, but then on the other hand, it's like, why didn't Elizabeth just like go back into like the point where they got on the airship before she decked him with the crowbar? Why don't they just go back to that point in time and sail off to Paris or something? It's just like Elizabeth kills herself in the process.
Well, it's just that all the other worlds still exist.
So?
Well, I mean, that's the whole point of the game. That's the whole point of the game in the end of killing Comstock is that to stop it. Like, of all these
right, but I think that's kind of weird because it's supposed to be about there's a million worlds. Well, it's like you're never going to stop all of them because there's always the possibility that something. You have to to understand the concept of infinity. You have to just accept the fact that there's going to be infinite possibilities.
Yeah, that is a.
And then this one's like we can definitively stop this thing from ever happening.
I mean I think you're trying to pull strings.
I'm not pulling strings. I'm just saying the game is called Bioshock Infinite.
Yeah, it's.
Why are we having definitive endings?
I think you're looking way too much into it. I don't think they thought that much into it. I think they wanted to finish the story of a man making a huge mistake in his life twice and trying to redeem it. I think that's the point of the story. And this whole thing of infinite universes and stuff like that is a really clever way of tying in the entire Bioshock theme. Like really fucking clever. Like it also I don't think is very well fleshed out, and it was something added. Like we were saying later on, I think that this story, I think the whole thing of the infinite worlds, tying everything together was probably not in the initial script when they were working on the game, and I think might have been added much later. Because like you said, it isn't fleshed out as much, and I don't think that is the most important thing, even though it's called Bioshock Infinite. I don't. Just because Bioshock 2 is called Bioshock 2 doesn't even focus on the number 2. You know, it's called Bioshock Infinite because it's a great name to something.
Well,
in
they
the
could have called it Bioshock 3 if they don't care about the name. Like the names have meanings.
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't. It was about an everlasting changing world, and you can settle this infinite. Oh, was this the song that was extra? This is the song for the kid.
Circle being broken. It's sung throughout the game.
One too short.
Yeah. But anyway, for the most part, the stuff they do in this game with, like, the storytelling, from my perspective of what I've played, has not been done in most games. Extremely complex storytelling. Like, if you don't go and look at all the extra shit and all the stuff that's available in the game, holy god, dude, you will be just kind of lost as to what is going on, you know?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, like, this is the second, that's the third, that's the fourth. But
Like, you told me about, you know, Comstock slaughtering all those Native Americans, and then, you know, saying later on that he did it for purpose, you know, to be accepted and stuff like that. And I probably wouldn't have put that together of why Booker DeWitt always had all this guilt, you know, about his life before his baptism, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And if you didn't tell me that, which is a side thing, I would have just been like, what? But regardless, it's extremely complex storytelling for something like a video game. Where the player can do multiple different things.
I'm not saying like the game's bad. I'm just the industry needs more games like this. But I think I can honestly sit there and critique it and say, you know what, it is great as it is, and it's as much as I love it, and I love how much it makes you think about it. I can still sit there and say, you know what, I don't really particularly like the final twist that much. I just don't like the idea that we've gone through all this thing, you know, about, you know, all these different possibilities, and then it just at the end we're just kind of like,
this is the end.
To me, it's like he wanted to have his Outer Limits Twilight Zone twist in the end, and that was more important than.
Well, would you have been happier with a happy ending? Well, you just said you were. You said you would have been happier if we just went to Paris.
Something like that, where they're just like, you know what, we're gonna go like. Just a realization that you can't always.
Well, you know what?
To me, it's more like you can't solve all the world's problems.
I honestly think it's deliberately written that way because it's more memorable.
In a way, I'm almost feeling like if I was going off on what I would have gone with, it's actually more of a downer. Because my ending is in my mind, it's just like, you know what?
Well,
you can't solve.
It's not a surface downer.
Yeah. It's like,
you know?
You can't solve all the world's problems. All you can do in your life is try to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And and improve people's lives around you. That's the best you can do. That's like a real good life lesson. In this game, it just kind of feels like could have had that, but we really wanted to have this really crazy twist in the end where like you have to kill yourself and then Elizabeth dies with you, kind of thing.
Yeah, I would actually say that the way it's written in the end is meant as finalization, and it's a downer at the same time to make it memorable.
I mean, the one way I can look at it is like, look, they probably don't want to make another sequel. They don't want another sequel to happen, so they're making it definitive.
Yeah, which
so
is smart.
So no one fucks with it.
There's a proper beginning in it.
Which kind of sucks that we have to think about shit like that nowadays. It's like, because no one wants to leave shit alone when it becomes profitable.
Yeah.
And that's so fucking sad. But like, I don't know. I think it's cool. You know, there's gonna be DLC for the game. It's gonna be single player DLC. So, God knows, you know, they could literally have a DLC which presents an entirely different ending.
I mean, it's anything. It's
you know,
the writer's imagination as much.
And the other thing, okay, there's some other things that from a gameplay perspective I think it's kind of cheap how there's no final boss. The last boss is technically an escort mission. The last fight.
For a bird, or technically for a big stone.
Yeah, for a big stone. You don't fight Songbird, and the explanation is that she says Songbird always stops you, always gives you. And it's like, you know what? I'm the fucking player. Why am I playing a video game when you're gonna tell me the big creature will always stop me, and we're just not even gonna have like a fight? Like, I get it's kind of like a ballsy twist or a ballsy take on it, but to me it feels a little cheap as a gamer, where it's just kind of like
I thought it was. I don't know. I thought it was
I'm playing a video game.
satisfying to
I'm playing a
control
video
him.
game. I love the part where you control him, but there's, you know, the part where you lose control and he comes back and she does the thing where she, you know, takes you to Rapture.
Yeah.
Really cool sequence, but I just kind of feel like
You wanted to fight
I feel
before that.
a little cheaped out from a gaming perspective, where it's like my last fight was literally just defending a giant stone against a wave of enemies.
Yeah, I mean, I
It's like,
agree that if you right after you defended the thing and you lose control of the bird, you get separated from Elizabeth and you have to. Well,
something, just something. Just I
You
just
and
feel like
Elizabeth
there's no
have to
real
take it
bosses
down.
in the game except for the ghost, and you fight her 3 times in a row. You know, it's kind of like when RE4, when you get to the end, you fight Sadler. He's either really easy or really hard, depending on what you have. But he's this big final confrontation,
yeah.
and it's like a satisfying ending to it. And this one,
Yeah.
I don't really feel like I got a gameplay-wise a satisfying ending. It just kind of feels like I got through a big grinding escort mission. Oh, now let me watch an hour-long ending.
Yeah, I do kind of agree.
So from a gameplay perspective, I kind of feel a little cheated there, and like
It's not perfect. I mean, the
It's
game's
not,
still
it's
a
not.
9 out of 10.
Oh, absolutely. But like I said, I do feel there. If you look on the floor here, there's the newspaper that says Rapture Times. It's really hard to make out though. Your screen's real dark for it. It's on the ground. Yeah. Go to the other one.
That texture ain't
the
good.
left. It's a different. It's another paper. Whatever. It just says like Rapture or whatever. Rapture Tribune. Yeah.
Cute.
Probably can't make that out on YouTube, but so yeah, I kind of feel a little cheated that like I didn't get a boss fight of any real sort. You know, the main gameplay is kind of the same. As whatever. This is just signifying that you've erased all Comstock timelines, and now it's just Booker DeWitt timelines. Therefore, you'll never, Robert Lutis will never come to your door. You'll never sell Anna because Comstock was killed and never existed.
So it still has a happy ending.
Kind of, yes. But like again, it is a happy ending. You say it's a downer, but it's not really a downer.
Yeah,
It's basically
well,
just
with
saying
that now, it's a happy ending.
all the bad shit is gone now. But I'm just kind of like, well, I just would have. To me, I think this could be easily solved. My whole issue with this infinite thing could easily be solved in a DLC. And it could be a non-canon DLC. But the best thing about this game is that who's to say what canon is? Because canon is whatever you want it to be. There's a million fucking possibilities.
Yeah.
So, to me, like, the game's not really over yet, but I just, again, I feel the ending was just, you know, a little. It felt more, like I said, just it was there for the twist and less for expanding on the ideals. And my friend actually warned me about this ahead of time because he was saying like it doesn't go as far with the whole
infinite spaces.
String theory, like
Yeah.
you know, heavy stuff.
It's
It doesn't
very
go as far
much
as I think
only
it
at
would have.
the very end.
Yeah, it's at the very end, and then yeah, it doesn't go there. And
You going to open it?
that was basically it. Those are like my only 2 real gripes. Is that like the gameplay
Once we
kind
were
of shows
here,
its hand
I could
really
fully
early on. Like
control
you
it.
kind of
I
do the
thought-
same
What is
thing
that?
gameplay wise after like the first couple hours.
Yeah.
Gameplay really doesn't change much. There's no bosses. There's no not really any like puzzles or anything.
Well,
like
I mean, no, the huge gameplay variety in the game is
just the environment.
the environment and the grip line thing.
And I like it. I actually just wish there was more zipline or whatever.
No, I'm not saying the game isn't perfect by any means, and it's definitely got a couple of its faults, but for the most part, it's like one of the most captivating fucking video games I've ever played.
And a game like I said, a game like this needs to exist because we need to have games like this. Because if we do not have AAA games like this, the industry is going to fucking fold on itself.
Yeah, and it's also the fact that this game took so goddamn long to make, and you
Yeah.
see it.
Well, I mean, like Bioshock 1 came out in 07, and this is like August 07. This is.
Well, they also had Bioshock 2 that they made,
Yeah,
too.
but they didn't make that.
Oh, did they not really?
No.
Oh.
Irrational had nothing to do with Bioshock 2. They consider it non-canon, actually.
Oh, so right after Bioshock they made this.
Yes, Irrational did. So, if you go back, you can go to the menu. On the main menu, you can actually load any point in the game you want to revisit.
Yeah.
So that's actually pretty cool. But again, no multiplayer, no need for it. But if they don't have more games like this of this caliber, of this budget,
Yeah.
the industry's in a lot of fucking trouble. Because people will get fucking bored of the same game.
This, honestly...
weekly installments or yearly installments.
When it comes to, like... This is the only game I would consider when it comes to video games nowadays that, you know, this game cost this much money, this game had this biggest launch and stuff like that. When it comes to games that I think absolutely deserve the amount of money that was spent on it for its final product, I would say Bioshock Infinite is definitely one of those games.
Well,
like, if it took you
yeah.
$100 million to make this game, then more shit like this needs to happen, because this game probably sets an industry precedence for storytelling. Not as much gameplay.
It makes you think. It really, truly does make you think.
Yeah, for storytelling and world immersion. Like, this world is just so fucking fantastic and believable that if it took $100 million to make this game, which I was, like, laughing at, like, holy shit, that's fucking ridiculous. And then after the game is, I'm like, oh, it was worth it. Oh, it was totally.
Well, yeah,
it was
because
worth it.
it's a game that looks like they spent that kind of money on it.
Yeah.
Like, they were saying, like, Tomb Raider cost $100 million to make, or some crazy shit. Was it Tomb Raider or something else?
No, actually, no, I'm sorry. It was Tomb Raider that cost $100 million. It took this game 5 years for them to make, and that's what I was saying. I'm not sure how much this game cost, but it was expensive.
It was expensive, but, like, Tomb Raider, like, they said that, and, like, there was some other big budget game they literally cost, they said, like, $100 million to make.
Which is...
And I was like, that's fucking ridiculous. Like,
Yeah.
how did this cost... I don't want to say it was Tomb Raider, because Tomb Raider was actually pretty good, but I don't know if
It didn't feel $100 million.
I don't know if it felt
good.
like $100 million.
It didn't feel as good as an Uncharted game, and Uncharted games cost like half that much to make.
Right,
Yeah.
you know? This game felt like it, because they were, like, really trying to do some clever things, you know? They were trying to do, you know, not just the story, but, like, the setting. Like you said, the setting felt like someone fucking sat there and thought about the setting for a long time.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I said I'd tell you about it. Remember when Fink was talking about how his brother could hear music from other timelines?
Yeah.
He was when he said he was listening in on a biologist. Fink was listening in to the biologist from Rapture, who created Big Daddies, which is how Fink created Songbird.
It's from the technology of a Big Daddy.
Songbird came from the technology Fink stole from Rapture.
That's pretty awesome. And with that, that was one of the best games you've probably ever played on this channel so far. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and oh my god, if you have not played Bioshock Infinite yet, you probably... I kind of want to go back and buy the PC version right now.
Yeah, it's again, definitely 9 out of 10 for me, no matter what you might think.
I think I could give a game a 10 out of 10 and not have that game be perfect.
Well, no game really is.
Yeah, because no game really is perfect, but I would honestly give this game a 10 out of 10. Like, in the grand scale of the whole perspective of the entire game and importance of characters and making you give a shit and feeling powerful as a player, you know, you feel really good as a player doing things when you have all this stuff available to you.
If it was on...
I wish you could do it more,
if it was on storytelling and atmosphere, I would have no problem giving this game a 10.
Yeah, I think
even if whatever I feel about the ending, I still feel the fact that this game like this exists is a miracle.
Yeah.
But...
regardless, I think...
I just want... the only thing that keeps me from giving like a 10 out of 10 is just like the variety in the gameplay.
Yeah.
It's basically just shoot, cast spell, shoot, cast spell, shoot, cast spell, jump on a zip line. That's all game.
There's even an argument that this game
literally the entire game.
There's even an argument that this game shouldn't be a shooter.
I honestly would have felt better if it was a third-person shooter. Like, there's times where I was playing a game, I'm like, I honestly wish I could see, like, Booker and Elizabeth interacting.
We could go on forever, so thank you guys very much for watching, and stay tuned. More YoVideogames coming at you very soon.